Just a short time ago, Joe Biden gave a rare address from the Oval Office calling for unity. Let's go live to Milwaukee now. Our Washington correspondent Annelise Nielson is standing by. And Annelise, Joe Biden obviously wanting to be presidential, wanting to reassure people and try and calm things down.
And the concern is that this is only going to become more of an issue as we head into this upcoming presidential election. Joe Biden rarely does Oval Office addresses. The other instances are when he raised the debt ceiling with Congress with just days to spare, and when he returned from Israel and was asking Congress to help pass more money for Israel and Ukraine. So this is how much is at stake at this moment. He called on the American public and politicians in this speech to lower the political temperature.
My fellow Americans, I want to speak to you tonight about the need for us to lower the temperature in our politics. And to remember, while we may disagree, we are not enemies. We're neighbors, we're friends, co-workers, citizens, and most importantly, we're fellow Americans. Well, the political record in this country has gotten very heated. It's time to cool it down. We all have a responsibility to do that.
Kieran, one of the interesting parts of this Oval Office address, though, is it did start to veer into sounding a bit like a campaign event. Now, Joe Biden's campaign has had to suspend much of its advertising since the assassination attempt on Donald Trump to avoid being seen as trying to take advantage of the moment or having a political message within such a tense time for the country to have their former president attacked in this way by a shooter. And the current Republican nominee that will be confirmed here in Milwaukee in just a few days' time as the Republican nominee for president. But also we've seen Donald Trump pull ahead in the polls that matter since that disastrous debate performance by Joe Biden. And so while this has been a horrific issue for most Americans, were horrified to watch what happened to Donald Trump in Pennsylvania, it has given Joe Biden a moment of reprieve in the day-by-day ratcheting up of calls for him to step aside over concerns that his memory is getting worse and he won't be up to serving another 4 years if he does win again. So there was a part of his Oval Office address that read a bit like a campaign.
The Republican convention will start tomorrow. I have no doubt they'll criticize my record and offer their own vision for this country. I'll be traveling this week making the case for our record and the vision, my vision of the country, our vision. I'll continue to speak out strongly for our democracy, stand up for our Constitution and the rule of law, to call for action at the ballot box, no violence on our streets. That's how democracy should work. We debate and disagree. We compare and contrast the character of the candidates, the records, the issues, the agenda, the vision for America. But in America, we resolve our differences at the battle box. You know, that's how we do it, at the battle box, not with bullets. The power to change America should always rest in the hands of the people, not in the hands of a would-be assassin. You know, the path forward through competing visions of the campaign should always be resolved peacefully, not through acts of violence.
Kieran, security is going to be a major concern here at the Republican National Convention after this assassination attempt of Donald Trump. We're told that there won't be any changes to the current security plan because they were already so high. We're at the perimeter now. Overnight, this is going to be locked down by Secret Service. To get into any of the areas just around the convention area is going to be really hard. It's going to be all very strictly locked down by Secret Service, who are behind us now, just looking at the perimeters and examining all of those different security measures that will be implemented in the next 24 hours. And so they've assured us that he'll be safe, and we can all expect greater focus on his Secret Service detail as this investigation continues after Joe Biden called for there to be an investigation into exactly what went wrong in Pennsylvania, that there was a shooter who became so close to critically injuring Donald Trump in the lead up to this election campaign.
Annelise, we've heard from the president now, the Oval Office address. We've seen social media messages from Donald Trump. Have you got any sense of when we'll hear from the former president? When's the next time he's going to speak?
Look, the next time he's formally slated to speak is at his confirmation at the Republican National Convention. So this is all of the theatre of political life in America comes to this convention. It's when the balloons come down off the ceiling, the delegates are roaring in support, and this time it's going to be a united Republican front. Nikki Haley has let go of her delegates and told them to vote for Donald Trump in that show of unity, and we learned today as an olive branch she's been given the opportunity to speak here at the Republican National Convention. It's fallen by the wayside in some of the reporting, but that is a significant moment. She was the last holdout in the Republican primary. She was the most overtly critical by the end of Donald Trump, and the fact she's come into the fold with this, she did a panel in Washington DC where she said that she was going to vote for him, and in that she was saying that the risk of allowing another 4 years of Joe Biden was worse for her than supporting Donald Trump, despite the shortcomings she'd already said that she observed in Donald Trump in her personal opinion. So this is a really remarkable moment. After so many years of the Republicans being out in the wilderness, they've got it together in time for this election. And meanwhile, Democrats have been putting off this discussion around Joe Biden and whether he's up for another 4 years. And the closer we get to the convention, the more they're stuck with him as their candidate. And enthusiasm kills campaigns in America, a lack of it, because it's not a compulsory voting system. So Frank Luntz, a really top Republican pollster, was saying, look, now you've got this scenario where every Republican who is going to vote for Donald Trump but may be uneasy, they're getting their ballot in, and all they're going to do is lose Democrats in the months ahead as we start to see more of Joe Biden on the campaign trail. And those moments, we're going to have another debate too at this point. So we're going to be watching to see how Joe Biden fares in that kind of scenario as well.
Exactly, yeah. It looks like a perfect storm at the moment, doesn't it? Annelise, thank you for that. Appreciate it. From tomorrow, Sky News will bring you complete live coverage of the Republican convention where Donald Trump will accept his party's nomination. Our correspondent, Annelise Nielson, of course, will be live from the convention floor in Wisconsin. Former Ambassador Joe Hockey will also join us exclusively for his analysis.